In August of 2016, the Movement for Black Lives released a very powerful vision for Black lives that calls for the radical transformation of our criminal justice systems and disinvestment for policing. And I just want to sort of just offer some of the demands that the movement has offered for us to think about in our policy work as we're really looking to seek to transform these systems. The first is an immediate end to the criminalization and dehumanization of Black youth across all areas of society, but not limited to our nation's justice and education systems, social service agencies, and even media and pop culture. So this means an end to zero tolerance policies that feed the school to prison pipeline, arrest of students, the removal of police from schools, and the reallocation of funds from policing into the actual kinds of restorative services that keep our communities safe. Policing, law enforcement has never kept our communities safe, right? The movement is calling for an end to capital punishment, an end to money bail, fines and fees, defendant-funded court proceedings, also an end to the use of past criminal history to determine eligibility for social services, housing, employment, funding for education. And because the movement is centering marginalized communities within Black communities, undocumented folks, queer and trans folks, the movement is calling for an end to war on immigrants, an end to all deportations, immigrant detention, ICE raids, and an end to war on Black, trans, queer, and gender nonconforming people, including the addition of these communities to anti-discrimination policies to ensure that queer, trans, gender nonconforming Black people have access to employment, health services, housing, and education. An end to the surveillance and targeting of Black communities. One of the things that movement leaders are seeing now on the ground is hyper-surveillance of their movements by law enforcement. Not just white supremacists, but law enforcement, right, are targeting our folks who are just really coming out and putting themselves out on the streets to fight for what's right. The demilitarization of law enforcement and an end to the privatization of police, prisons, jails, probation, parole, food, phones, and all other criminal justice related services. So, the vision for the movement around criminalization and policing and transforming this is, really a world where cages are no longer used to control our bodies, right? Like, we come from a legacy. We are people who are stolen from Africa, brought here in bondage, right? Who really, the basis of all of the wealth that we are moving here in philanthropy today is on the backs of stolen Black bodies and our exploited labor. So, the movement really is calling for a radical retransformation of what this looks like, but until, right, like we no longer have cages that are barring us, right, an immediate change in the conditions in jails, detention centers, youth facilities, closing down youth facilities. I just got this great shirt from Courage. Close youth prisons, build youth leaders, and making sure that we have effective measures to keep all Black folks, particularly Black, queer, undocumented women, young people, safe and free from harm.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah.